All right, so let's talk about equity means fair, right? These courts are ours. They solve our disputes so that we don't have quarrels that end in somebody getting shot or dying. They keep the quarrels civil, okay? They help society avoid outright murder. Now, in order to do that, people have to trust that system. They have to trust that if they go in there, they're going to get a fair deal. That the court is going to operate by the principles of equity. But you got to know what the principles of equity are. That doesn't mean that just because you didn't intend something to happen, that you shouldn't be held liable for something. Period. If you're negligent, of course, you know, you should have foreseen like a certain risk based on certain circumstances. You should have seen these clues, and that should have told you what was going to happen, and you should have prevented it, right? But your punishment shouldn't be like death or the electric chair or something too long. You know what I mean? Like you have to pay something, right? So it really depends on the circumstances, which is what they had in England described earlier or in the previous video, where the law was just too harsh, but they're supposed to make it right. Okay? They're not supposed to hurt people in the process. So when you go to a court of equity, nobody is supposed to come out more hurt than what they should be. Okay? And if somebody is coming out of their hurt, then there should be some sort of compensation so that it really does come out even at the end. Now, to use this equity depends on the circumstances of your case. Most of you, or all of us, are in family law, right? So it's like, wait a minute. I went into the court and it was not fair. There was no equity there. Yeah, you're right. There wasn't. There's a bunch of shit that, like, just happened when we went there. You know what I mean? We all know. So, you went in there and automatically your child was taken from you, right? And there was a temporary order or something like that. And child support was issued. Bam. You know, now, what happened there? That was a judgment. That was like a government action. It was a judgment, right? Somebody interfered with your parents' right, with your parental rights, and now they're taking your property. Like, whoa, what happened? What was the judgment? What was the equity that happened here? Because you took two things from me, but what did I do that was wrong? What injury did I cause to somebody else? Well, it's not apparent. It's not, the record does not show what you did. Maybe there's an allegation of some kind by somebody who doesn't have any evidence, doesn't have any witnesses, and all they have is like, well, I saw the kid do something strange when they came back from the other parent. And they don't even know what day that was. They don't have any proof, and it's like just one event. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden your rights are gone, right? And you're injured. But what was the injury going in? How is it that you becoming injured was a positive? an overall like positive that made everything equal, right? Because there had to be a negative, there had to be an injury going in there. And the judge says, "Well, I got a way to make it. I got a way to fix it." So he goes in there and he does something. It doesn't make sense. Okay, there's no injury. If you don't hurt somebody, like there's there's no liability for you. You didn't hurt anybody, and there's just allegations. There's no positive proof of any of these allegations, right? Maybe the judge is erring on the side of caution because they just had a case where they let some dude see his kid and he beat the kid up and shit, you know? So they're just like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that again. Or they're like, I just had a mom that's a crackhead, and this mom that's in front of me has the same characteristics. And I'm not paying attention that she actually has like ADHD or something, and this one's just a crackhead. But because they act the same and they look the same, I'm just going to treat that one like a crackhead. So you gotta give the judges benefit of the doubt, but not too much. You know what I mean? They should know better. They should know better. Now, no injury, but then the result of the judgment creates an injury, and that is not equity. That's not equity. Okay, that's not fair. It's not. So that's why equity has to be fair. And that's how you use it in an argument. And you'll be able to find another way of using it when you make an argument to somebody or you talk to somebody about it who's interested in talking about equity. It's like, look, man, this is a courtroom. We pay for it. Shouldn't it be fair? Like, I didn't do anything wrong. If you want to look at the transcripts, I can show you the transcripts. I can show you everything that's in there, and even the judge's paperwork, and it doesn't say like exactly what I did that was wrong. There's no evidence. It's just some lady that said something, or there's nothing in there, but what and because the judge doesn't like the court reporter doesn't take down the judge's bias, his their a judge's like fears and stuff like that. That's not apparent on the transcript. It's hard to find that. It's hard to find these biases and impartialities because you don't know what they just saw. You know what they just went through. If you want to hit me up and talk about this, like feel free. You probably have my number or my email, but feel free to hit me up and we can talk more about this issue on why courts have to be fair. One last thing before I go is that I've seen case law where it says that the judgments don't have to be fair, right? They don't have to be fair. I've seen some arguments by actual federal courts about that, but I don't think that that is a popular opinion amongst judges. So if you come across that somewhere, don't give it too much mind. It's out there, but it's not. It's absurd, but it's rare. Okay, when you're reading about equity and whether that stuff has to be fair, of course it has to be fair. Would we ever create a government? Would our ancestors ever create a government that wasn't fair? You know what I'm saying? Like they would never. They wouldn't have done that to themselves. Come on now, it was supposed to be fair. Like the whole part of cutting it off with England was supposed to be because it wasn't fair. They weren't treating us right. They were, So anyway, think about it. Thanks for listening in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like button so you can get a notification of the next Maxim of Equity. Okay? Thanks again for your time, and I appreciate what you're doing out there talking to people, and I hope I can be of help to you. All right? Have a good one.